Every day, we throw things away without really thinking about it. A plastic bottle after finishing a drink. A paper cup from the coffee shop. The cardboard box from an online delivery. Or maybe the leftovers from last night's dinner that started to smell in the fridge. We toss them into the bin and walk away. For us, that feels like the end of the story. But in reality, it's only the beginning of a much longer and more complicated journey. Have you ever wondered what actually happens to all that trash? Does it really get recycled the way we hope? Does it vanish somewhere out of sight? Or does it pile up silently in landfills, rivers, and oceans, shaping the world around us in ways we rarely notice? Today, we are going to explore the hidden journey of our waste. We'll break down the myths about recycling, see how different countries manage their trash in very different ways, and uncover what really happens when you throw something away. We'll look at plastic, food waste, glass, metals, paper, and even styrofoam. And we'll ask the question, is recycling really the solution we think it is? Or just part of a bigger story? Hi, this is Brain Bloom Studio. Let's dive in. Every year, the world produces billions of tons of waste. Some of it is collected and processed, some of it is burned, and much of it ends up buried in the ground. A shocking amount escapes entirely, drifting into rivers, clogging drains, and floating into the ocean. Plastic alone makes up billions of bottles, bags, and wrappers every single day. Yet less than 10% of that plastic ever gets truly recycled back into new plastic. The truth is that recycling is not the clean and perfect cycle we like to imagine. It is messy, uneven, and often disappointing. Depending on where you live, that bottle you throw into the recycling bin might come back as a new bottle. Or it might get burned for energy. Or it might just end up buried underground. Let's start with plastic, because plastic is everywhere. We use it for water bottles, soda bottles, shopping bags, food packaging, and so many other products. Plastic feels cheap and convenient, but it is one of the hardest materials to recycle. When governments or companies say that half of plastic is being recycled, the numbers are often misleading. They count burning as recycling. If plastic is burned in an incinerator to produce heat or electricity, that still shows up in the statistics as recycled. But the material is gone. It does not come back as new plastic. Globally, the amount of plastic that gets recycled back into usable plastic is only about 9%. That means 9 out of every 10 plastic items you have ever used have ended up burned, buried, or polluting the environment. Not all materials are this difficult. Paper and cardboard are among the easiest to recycle. They can be shredded into pulp, cleaned of ink and coatings, and made into new paper products. That cardboard box from online shopping can come back as another box. Metals are also excellent candidates. Aluminum cans, for example, can be recycled infinitely without losing quality. Recycling aluminum saves more than 90% of the energy compared to producing new aluminum from raw ore. Steel cans can also be melted and reused with little waste. Glass bottles are similar. They can be collected, cleaned, and reused many times, or melted down and reformed. In many European countries, glass recycling rates are above 90%. But then we have styrofoam, also known as expanded polystyrene. You know it, the white, foamy material used in packaging, in boxes for fish or fruit, and in protective layers for electronics. It is technically a type of plastic, but it is incredibly difficult to recycle. Why? Because it is bulky but very light, it breaks apart easily. And it gets dirty quickly with food or grease. Clean styrofoam can be compressed and recycled into new plastic materials. But contaminated styrofoam usually ends up in the landfill or gets burned. This is why experts say that if you want styrofoam to be recycled, you must remove tape, labels, and food residue before throwing it away. Without that effort, it almost certainly will not be recycled at all. Food waste is another huge part of the problem. Leftover rice, vegetable scraps, fruit peels, bread that went moldy. Food waste makes up a massive portion of household trash. But what happens to it varies wildly by country. In the United States, most food waste goes straight to landfills. There, it rots and produces methane, a greenhouse gas far more powerful than carbon dioxide. Some cities are beginning to collect food scraps for composting. But overall, the system is weak. In Europe, the story looks better. Countries like Germany and the Netherlands collect food waste separately. It gets turned into compost for farms, or it is processed in anaerobic digesters, giant tanks without oxygen, where bacteria break it down into biogas that can generate electricity. Sweden even uses food waste to create fuel for public buses. And then there is India. With over 1 billion people, India generates enormous amounts of food waste every day. Much of it ends up in open dumps, attracting animals and spreading disease. But at the same time, countless small projects are trying to turn food scraps into compost or biogas. The problem is scale. The amount of waste far outweighs the solutions currently in place. When you compare countries overall, the differences are striking. In the United States, only about 30% of waste is recycled. For plastic, the number is closer to 10%. Landfills are massive, and incineration is common. In Germany, the overall recycling rate is more than 60%. Glass and metal are recycled at very high rates. Plastic is still a challenge, but the sorting system is much more advanced than in the US. Sweden sends almost no waste to landfills. They recycle what they can and burn the rest in clean incinerators to create heat and electricity. Some even say Sweden imports trash from other countries just to keep their energy system running. India, on the other hand, struggles with infrastructure. Landfills around cities like New Delhi and Mumbai are overflowing, and much of the recycling is done informally by waste pickers. These individuals play a critical role in recovering plastic, metal, and cardboard, but they work in unsafe and unfair conditions. Without them, the recycling rate in India would be even lower. These comparisons show that recycling is not just about technology. It is also about policy, culture, and even human labor. So what is the truth about recycling? It is not a magic solution. When you put something in the recycling bin, there is no guarantee it will become new again. Depending on your country, it might get recycled properly. It might get burned, or it might get buried. Recycling works best for materials like aluminum, glass, and paper. It struggles badly with plastics, especially soft plastics and styrofoam. And food waste is either a wasted opportunity or a powerful resource, depending on the system in place. As individuals, we don't control national policies, but we can make a difference. Remove labels from bottles. Rinse containers before throwing them away. Take tape and food off styrofoam. Separate food waste if your city offers collection. Small habits, multiplied by millions of people, can increase the chances that recycling actually works. But bigger change must come from governments and companies. We need better systems, better technology, and less production of single-use plastic in the first place. Recycling is only one part of the solution. Reducing and reusing are even more important. At the end of the day, the story of trash is the story of us. The things we throw away don't disappear. They continue to exist, sometimes as new products, sometimes as toxic smoke, sometimes as mountains of waste. Recycling is not perfect, but it is a tool we can improve with awareness, habits, and pressure for stronger systems. This has been Brain Bloom Studio, where we explore the hidden side of everyday life and answer the questions you might have always wondered about. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the curious side of our world. Thank you for watching.